at the beginning of the film showing a garbage man named Clean. At that time, he was doing his work. After finishing all his work, Clean always carried waste from the trash can and he would recycle it at his house. Clean did it to support his daily living expenses because his salary as a garbage man didn't cover everything. Clean was on the way home. He lived in a city full of violence gangsters. In that city, Clean only lived in an unused repair shop. In that workshop, Clean often fixes things he found in the trash to repair them. After repairing those things, Clean sold them to his friend who owns a shop. Not only does it accept used goods, the shop also sells various kinds of firearms. Every day, Clean always gives breakfast to a girl named Diana, his neighbor. Apparently, Clean really cared about Diana because her face was very similar to her dead daughter. Coincidentally, Diana was also an orphan and only lived with her grandmother, so Clean considered Diana as her own daughter. In another place, the scene showed the mafia boss named Michael, who was highly respected in the city. Currently, Michael was waiting for his son, Rocky, who that day just got out of prison. But unfortunately, Rocky preferred to be accompanied by his friends rather than Michael, his own father. Of course, this made Michael hurt because Rocky didn't appreciate him. At night, while Clean was working to pick up rubbish, he accidentally saw Michael and his men doing something suspicious in front of a fish shop. However, Clean chose not to care and didn't want to interfere in their business. Sure enough, Michael and his men have been using the fish shop as a cover to import illegal drugs. At this time, Michael was very upset because the drugs they imported from the Chinese mafia did not comply with the agreement. The next morning, Clean came to see Diana, who was walking. It turned out that the bus would not pass through the complex where she lived anymore. So from now on, Diana had to walk to school. Clean immediately offered to take Diana to school. He was even willing to take her every day. In the car, Diana asked where Clean's wife and daughter were. Then Clean answered that he no longer had a family. After taking Diana to school, Clean returned to Diana's house to give her a bicycle. But here, Diana's grandmother accidentally saw Clean and asked why he was so kind to Diana, even though she was not his daughter. Clean said that it was atonement for his past sins. Meanwhile, in front of Michael's fish shop, there was another shipment of illegal goods from the Chinese mafia. But at that moment, Michael immediately killed the courier sent by the Chinese mafia. This was because Michael was annoyed because the previous goods were not in accordance with the agreement. After that, Michael told his son, Rocky, to clean up the man's body. That night, when Clean was working and carrying rubbish in front of Michael's shop, he saw a cardboard box that was stained with human blood. Right then, Michael approached Clean, and he tried to bribe Clean by giving him some money. However, Clean refused because he also wouldn't interfere in other people's business. The next morning, when Clean was about to go home, the car he was driving had a problem. Then he went out to immediately check on it. But suddenly, there was someone who was being chased by a group of gangsters. Clean, who usually doesn't care about other people's business, this time he tried to see what was going on. But from behind, one of the gangsters immediately hit Clean until he was unconscious. When Clean woke up, it turned out that he was already in the hospital. The doctor who treated him said that with the injuries that Clean had suffered, he should have died. The doctor was very amazed at the strength of Clean's body. There, the doctor gave Clean a medicine that he had to take, but he even refused and he said that he had recovered. After that, Clean went to the place where he stored the garbage truck, and he asked permission not to work that night. When Clean was about to go home, he saw Diana sitting outside alone. Clean asked her, and she said that she was waiting for her grandmother to come home because her grandmother had taken the house key so that Diana couldn't enter the house. At that time, Clean offered Diana to wait at his house until her grandma came home. Moreover, the weather that night was also very cold. At Clean's house, Clean served various foods for Diana. After that, Diana, who was curious, tried to open a box at that place. But when Diana was about to open it, Clean immediately stopped her. In another place, at Michael's house, Rocky was fed up with his father's behavior so far, so he said that he would rather be in prison than at home with him. This, of course, made Michael angry. Michael said that Rocky's friends respect him because they are afraid of Michael, who was the most powerful person in this city. The next day, when Clean was about to go home after finishing his work, He accidentally saw Diana hanging out with a group of gangsters. Clean immediately told Diana to hurry home. At first, Diana didn't want to, and the gangsters wanted to beat Clean, but Diana immediately stopped him and chose to go home immediately. On Sunday, after coming home from church, one of the former mafia leaders, who had repented, approached Clean. The person felt familiar with Clean, but Clean emphasized that they had never met. In the evening, when Clean was about to go to work, he saw Diana's bicycle at a gangster's place. Clean then immediately brought a wrench and checked it inside. It turned out that Diana was being fed drugs and was about to be abused. The gangster also deliberately put his cell phone to record it, but at that moment, Clean immediately beat them up blindly. Apparently, one of the gangster members is Rocky. A few days later, Rocky was being examined by a doctor. The doctor told Michael that Rocky had to immediately undergo plastic surgery because his face was so damaged. Even Rocky won't be able to talk normally anymore. Michael, who was still annoyed with Rocky, didn't allow his son to have surgery as a form of lesson for Rocky. But despite his annoyance with Rocky, Michael still wanted to finish off the person who dared to be his son. One day, the police who became Michael's right-hand man managed to find out the person through the cell phone recordings at the crime scene. It was revealed that the person who did all this was Clean, a garbage man. Michael immediately ordered the police to finish off Clean, including Diana and her grandmother. In the afternoon, it turned out that Clean had taken Diana and her grandmother to immediately leave the city. But on the way, they were stopped by a policeman. When Clean realized that the police stopping him was one of Michael's right-hand men, Clean immediately drove the car fast. Luckily, Clean managed to escape from the police. After that, they stopped at a restaurant because Diana's grandmother wanted to go to the toilet. At this moment, Clean said that he would just wait outside. After Diana and her grandmother entered the resto, Clean immediately rushed to steal a car because he felt that his car was about to break down. When Clean was stealing the car, suddenly, some hitmen ordered by Michael came. They got down there because they saw Clean's car parked, and when Diana and her grandmother were about to go out, they were caught by Michael's men. Diana and her grandmother immediately tried to hide, while outside, Clean just came with the stolen car, and he thought that Michael's group was already there. Clean then killed one of the men who was standing guard outside. On the other side, Michael's gang was still trying to find Diana and her grandma until they met Clean and he beat them mercilessly. After that, Clean took Diana and her grandma to stay at a motel. There, Clean remembered her daughter who had died, and apparently her daughter died of an overdose. Clean felt guilty because her daughter died after trying to inject liquid injections, which were often used by Clean, and now Clean promised to look after Diana as a form of atonement for his past sins. That same night, Clean left the motel to go back home. When Clean went home, it turned out that the workshop he had been staying in had been destroyed by Michael's men. In the morning, Clean went to his friend's shop to buy some weapons because now he was going to hunt down Michael and his henchmen. Meanwhile, Michael and his right-hand man got information that Clean, the garbage man they were currently targeting, was a former assassin, and he was highly respected. Clean's real name is Carlo, and he's the cruelest man. Because he's so cruel, his nickname is the Grim Reaper. Hearing that explanation, of course, Michael immediately turned pale because of fear. That night, Clean would start his action, hunting down Michael and the gang. Here, Clean was seen preparing his hunt. On the other hand, Michael deliberately held a party with other mafias so that he could be protected from Clean, who was definitely going to hunt him down. While Michael and the others were having fun partying, suddenly a garbage truck destroyed the house, and sure enough, it was Clean who did this. After that, Clean blew up the house's electricity source, and he started killing them one by one. Those people tried to paralyze Clean, but of course they wouldn't be able to fight the Grim Reaper. Clean ferociously finished them off mercilessly. Therefore, these people regretted disturbing Clean, the Grim Reaper. On one occasion, Michael, who already knew that Clean was very tired, tried to finish him off, and there was a very fierce duel. When Michael was cornered, suddenly, Rocky came out of the room with a gun. Michael was very proud because now, Clean was about to be killed by his son. However, it turned out that Rocky actually killed his own father. Rocky was very angry because his father had the heart to let him live with a damaged face. At that time, Rocky was actually going to finish off Clean, but unfortunately, his gun ran out of bullets. Long story short, a few months later, the residents returned to their homes, which they had left behind, because now, this city is free from gangsters and mafia, who often cause trouble. At the end of the film, Diana saw from a distance that the garbage truck that Clean often drove was approaching her. Diana thought that Clean is an angel of salvation, not a Grim Reaper. And then the film ends.